So Jay has Degenerate Jay. He's got some really good content. I wonder, he has this video here. We're losing Spider-Man history. I briefly listened to some of it, but I want to listen to the whole thing and give a reaction. Degenerate Jay, he's a really good content creator. Really big into the superhero stuff, as am I. Spider-Man fan, obviously. Um, has a good perspective on a lot of video games too. He superhero video games specifically is a lot of his content. A lot of the Batman Arkham is, I think, where a lot of his viewership is and where a lot of his growth came from. But either way, the guy's a good content creator. I'm gonna listen to what he has to say here about we're losing Spider-Man history and just see what he says, because of course I'm a big Spider-Man guy.
I have a bit of a bone to pick with superhero games, and in particular those that were licensed games. Now, there's a lot of these, and especially with Spider-Man, it feels like an entire generation of Spidey games got left behind in the past.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the licensing stuff goes, is he gonna say like there's no? I have a feeling he's gonna say that there's not really many easy ways to access older games. Like this year's from Spider-Man Friend or Foe. I think it was like a 2007 game. It's based on the Raimi universe, if I very loosely based on the Sam Raimi universe, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, uh, it is difficult to access these, the older Spider-Man games, the Raimi movie tie-ins, Ultimate Spider-Man, Friend or Foe, Shattered Dimensions, and Edge of Time. We'll see what he has to say about those.
Some of these games are extremely creative, and they have been delisted officially. They keep becoming more and more expensive if you want to buy a physical.
Yeah, this was from the original Amazing Spider-Man game. I didn't really like those games. The first one was okay. I think that's which footage from we're seeing now is from the original Amazing Spider-Man game from 2012, but the second one was horrible. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, one of the worst Spider-Man games.
Version of it, even though those versions no longer have DLC.
Yes, the Neversoft games too. Obviously, or I think Neversoft actually for the original like PS1 and 60. I played it on the N64. The original Neversoft Spider-Man game that was loosely based off the '90s animated series with Christopher Daniel Barnes, I think, if I remember correctly. But that game was awesome. I played the fuck out of that. Thought it got me into the character. It was one of the coolest things ever when I pressed the R button on my N64 controller and Spider-Man swung across to the other building. It was so rudimentary, but at the time I was like 6 years old. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But yeah, I mean, I think was it Vicarious Visions that took it on after Neversoft that took on Enter Electro, which is what I think this graphic is from.
Because that's delisted as well. And in some cases, the only reason that these games still exist is because fans preserved them themselves, especially PC builds of these games. I think that
yeah, so like fans preserved themselves PC games, so I think he is alluding to the fact that these games can be difficult to access in the modern day.
Spider-Man games deserve way better than this, and I think that there is unfortunately an idea because of the Insomniac success that...
So let's talk about Insomniac. So I see where Jay is coming from, and he's got a point. I understand he's got passion for these older superhero games, these older Spider-Man games. From my perspective, this is only a me thing. So this is only me. I'm not saying this is gospel. I'm not saying what should or ought be. But I will absolutely say that I have a very difficult time going back to other Spider-Man games. Ever since 2018's Insomniac Spider-Man dropped, and I can't. I don't even have room to say that because I have not played a Spider-Man game other than Spider-Man 2018, or I'm sorry, Spider-Man PS4 or Spider-Man Remastered, Miles Morales, or Spider-Man 2 since Insomniac has dropped Spider-Man games because the gameplay is so good in them that I can't go back and play the other games. I just can't do it. The Insomniac system is so good, like the traversal system in Marvel Spider-Man 2 is so great. I can't go back to the other. I wouldn't be able to go back to the other games and swing around in them and do the combat. It's just Insomniac's system is too good. I won't be able to do it. I understand, like, gameplay is not the only reason to play a game, and there's nostalgia involved, but just to me, no way can I go back. And it does suck that these games are so difficult to access, but um, Insomniac has spoiled us so much. And I'm just speaking gameplay. I mean, I love the story for Spider-Man PS4 and Miles Morales. I hate it for Spider-Man 2, but at least the gameplay is great. Um, Shattered Dimension and Edge of Time, not my cup of tea as far as gameplay goes. But like I said, that's it's still unfortunate that people still can't access those games if they want access to them. And I think that's what Jay's saying here.
Spider-Man games are in a great spot. They're not. A lot of this history is being neglected. If a Spider-Man game came back tomorrow, which one would you instantly buy?
The only one that I loved Spider-Man Web of Shadows. I really loved that game. It was like, because I wasn't into the hack and slash genre, like, God of War, Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, until, like, somewhat recently. I love those games now. I love action games now. I love God of War 3, Ninja Gaiden Black, and Sigma. They're two of my favorite games of all time. Um, and Web of Shadows has that, like, combo heavy, like, hack and slash kind of combat gameplay. The traversal is great too. But I still wouldn't even jump at the bit to that, because I still think Insomniac's combat system is better than Web of Shadows. And I know a lot of people might disagree, but that's the only one that I would even consider for going back and playing over Insomniac's system. Other than that, N64, just because of the nostalgia. I liked the Raimi movie games. Like, I like Spider-Man 2. Obviously, that like pioneered modern Spider-Man swinging. It's a great game. I love that game. It always hold a special place in my heart. But I didn't like the first Raimi game, like Spider-Man 1. I wasn't a fan of it. Spider-Man 2 I loved, obviously. I still think Insomniac outdoes that in essentially every way, so I wouldn't have a reason to go back to it. Spider-Man 3 I wasn't really that much of a fan of. So I wouldn't really necessarily even be chomping at the bits to buy one, but that doesn't mean other people wouldn't.
Would it be Web of Shadows? Would it be the Neversoft Spider-Man on PS1? Let me know what game you would instantly click purchase on if you could actually legally buy that game and support that creation. These games meant a lot to so many of us. Some of my earliest
Yeah, the graphics on Web of Shadows was really good.
gaming memories are playing Spider-Man games. Things like
Me too. I mean, Spider-Man's a big reason I got into gaming. So, I understand that. Yeah, this was when the symbiote bonded with Vulture.
the Neversoft Spider-Man game on the PlayStation 1. Games as well like the first movie adaptation for the Sam Raimi Tobey Maguire universe.
Yeah, I did not like that game. Even when I was a kid, I didn't love it. I wonder how many people just feel sheer nostalgia from this game here, the original, like, Neversoft Spider-Man game. It's got to be just tons, right? Because to be honest, I mean, this game here specifically got me into gaming and the character at the same time.
Actually, Spider-Man 2 from that universe that on the PlayStation 2, it was the first game I ever bought with my own money that I saved up. And I remember as a kid how expensive dropping $50 on that game felt. But I had played it in a Radio Shack of all things, really aging myself here quite a bit, on a demo kiosk, and I fell in love.
Yeah, remember that? I don't know if they have them anymore, but you could go into like a Target or a Walmart or, like he's saying, Radio Shack or Circuit City, and just like there'd be controllers just hooked up, and you could just demo games and like play a video game right there and test it. It was so cool. I don't know if those even exist anymore, because like everything's online now. So
With that open world, and it was just such a mind altering experience for me to open up to this new world of possibilities with superhero games at the time. You know, these weren't just random licensed cash-in games. To a lot of us, the way they've been treated now by Marvel and also their parent companies, they were childhood memories. You know, people spent their money renting games like this, replaying them endlessly, learning the swing mechanics in something like the Spider-Man 2 movie game, playing through these comic book inspired worlds. Even
Yeah, Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time. I just they came out after Web of Shadows, which had an open world swinging system similar to Spider-Man 2. Actually, what a lot of people don't realize is that Spider-Man 2's movie game still wasn't the best swinging. Even if you take Insomniac out of it, it was Spider-Man Web of Shadows. That had the best swinging. And Edge of Time and Shattered Dimensions came after Web of Shadows. And it was so difficult to play those after Web of Shadows because Web of Shadows had that open world awesome traversal and combat, whereas Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time didn't, in my opinion. So that was where the problem lied.
hearing the voice lines and hearing the deadpan delivery at times of Tobey Maguire in the Spider-Man movie games, where I love Tobey as an actor, but there were certain times in those games where I feel like he didn't want to be there. But
No doubt. Couldn't agree more.
you know, even those things, we have nostalgia for that. It was so fun. Every Spider-Man game back then also felt very different. You know, not only were there the comic book styled worlds of something like the Spider-Man 1 Neversoft or Vicarious Visions Enter Electro game, but then there were also kind of darker games as well. There were games that were very imaginative and unique in their premise, like Web of Shadows, where it's focused so much on that symbiote invasion of the world.
Yeah, and Web of Shadows is another reason why I just was not remotely a fan or gave a fuck about Marvel Spider-Man 2's story with the symbiote invasion. It's just like, we've seen something so similar to this, I just didn't give a fuck. I know it's Harry and whatever, and there's a connection, but it meant nothing.
There were cel-shaded art styles, all these different things. These games helped define what superhero games would
The black suit was so cool in Web of Shadows too, because it had that like purple comic looking texture to it.
become later for a lot of us. But most of them are just officially gone. They've been delisted in terms of storefronts. They're no longer purchasable. The DLC pages have been
Yeah, you just can't play them, you know. And maybe I'm speaking of this from a place of extreme privilege, having put a lot of hours in these games already. So I've already scratched that itch. What about other people that still want to? Jay's got a point.
taken down. They're now expensive on eBay. They were licensed games. Once licenses expire, the games get delisted. You want to go and officially buy Web of Shadows and support somebody? You can't. You want to go officially buy the Amazing Spider-Man 1 game based off of the Andrew Garfield film? You can't. So these games aren't even fully preserved officially. Even if you own a physical disc, a lot of DLC is gone.
Yeah, in this is Shattered Dimensions too, I believe. Yeah, they're in Grand Central Station, but the noir parts were really stealth based, which is pretty cool. I remember that being somewhat of a fun part. I kind of liked the stealth.
So people are spending a huge amount of money on games physically that technically aren't even complete anymore. And these games didn't disappear because people like us stopped caring. They disappeared because licensing deals expired and nobody wanted to pay money to bring them back. This is where I have a huge problem with modern gaming because fans have had to. They disappeared because licensing deals expired and nobody wanted to pay money to bring them complete anymore. And these games didn't disappear because people like us stopped caring. They disappeared because licensing deals expired and nobody wanted to pay money to bring them back. This is where
Right, it's always about the money.
I have a huge problem with modern gaming because fans have had to become a preservation team for media, and in any other form of media, this would be considered unacceptable. If fans were the only ones who could preserve books, if fans were the only ones who could preserve official films, and that's it, people would be really upset. But with gaming, it's...
Well, I think it's just because the gaming is, there are far less people who play games than read books or watch movies, right? Because I mean, people that play video games are probably what, between the ages of like 8 and 40. I mean, do people of course people outside of those ages do play, but like what about people 40 and beyond? Like, what about people that are in that age range that just don't play video games? But everybody watches movies from time to time. Everybody reads or hears about books from time to time. It just isn't the same with gaming. It's a more niche demographic overall.
Become a standard. Because at this point, fans are basically the people who preserve Spider-Man history. They're the ones who reshare these old files. Because these games are only still playable on modern hardware.
Yeah, that was from the Spider-Man 1 game.
Because fans archived, redistributed them, helped them figure out, helped other fans figure out workarounds to make things work. So technically, what's stupid about this is this falls into piracy, right? Now, you look at me morally, do I have a big problem with pirating old video games morally? No. But when we're looking at legality, there is still legal pitfalls here. So when companies...
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter what we deem to be moral. Like, if it's going to legally fuck us, obviously, we're going to have our hesitations.
Though completely abandon and delist these games, they become abandonware, essentially. Fans are the only reason the games survive at all, but the way the law works, it doesn't really take that into account. It doesn't really seem to care that fans are the ones preserving this abandonware, these good games. That's a really weird place for gaming history to take that into account. It doesn't serve these games, they become abandonware, essentially. Fans are the only reason the games survive at all, but the way the law works, it doesn't really take that into account. It doesn't really seem to care that fans are the ones preserving this
No, doesn't care at all.
abandonware, these good games. That's a really weird place for gaming history to be in. It reminds me of Pokemon. You can't officially buy most of those old games, you can only buy them secondhand for hundreds of dollars on eBay. Nintendo makes nothing, but they get mad if you pirate it. It's a weird catch-22. And when you have these games that mean so much to people, they're gonna be upset that that history is just erased officially. I think these games deserve so much better. Spider-Man has such a unique history in superhero gaming, and he has been one of the focal points of superhero games. So many of us grew up with these games, and, for some people, these were their introduction to Spidey as a character. For other people, these were some of the very first games that they ever loved as a kid. I think they deserve better than being abandoned and forgotten because some license expired. I'm happy Spider-Man games are successful again. I'm very happy with what Insomniac has been able to build in terms of hype, and I really love Spider-Man 1, I love Miles Morales. I'm still mixed on Spider-Man 2, I feel like the symbiote arc could have been done a lot better.
Symbiote arc should have never fucking happened. They just they only have 3 games and they fucking just tossed away Craven for that idiot character Venom.
But in general, my point is, Spider-Man games are still very popular, right? They're still selling, people are still enjoying them. That's great. But I don't think that we should just forget the games that helped build the legacy of Spider-Man in gaming in the first place. And it's frustrating that it's fallen into such a weird...
It's always going to be about money at the end of the day. If there's no longer a profit to be had, then we lose our enjoyment. So,
area where fans have to preserve these games, but at the same time, the way the laws are written and the way that companies react to that still treats that preservation as a bad thing. That's frustrating to me. I think there are ways around this. I think people, if they were willing to actually cough up the money on an official level, these games could come back. We saw that as well with things like Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 on the PS4 storefront. But even there, it was only for a limited time, and then it went away again. It just sucks to see because these games are such an important core memory for me, and I know they matter to a lot of you, and yet it seems like they don't matter a lot to the people who could make them officially come back. But I am wondering what game you would instantly rebuy if it did get re-released tomorrow, either on physical or digital or whatever. Would you buy a Spider-Man game collection? Would you buy these games digitally on a storefront? Be sure to let me know, because for me, losing this much superhero history and gaming media history on an official level, it feels wrong.
Yeah, and it's all going to be a memory. Okay, so that's it. It's a good video.